Yo ninjas, I'm Kaio. Let's see some handstand exercises for your airflare. This video is really recommended for those who want to learn the airflare with a vertical form. So not so low like 45 degrees or lower, but a little higher than 45 degrees or even more vertical. These exercises will not be very useful if you want to make your airflares lower. They are going to be very useful only if you want to try to reach the high version of the airflare and maybe lowering it with time. If you need more help for your airflare, check out the Airflare PDF guide that I made on my Ko-fi page. You can find the link in the description. In this guide I explain everything you need to know about the airflare, all the ways to do it, all the methods, all the different techniques, which technique fits best in which case. So I really recommend it if you are serious about learning airflares. So the key point to learn vertical airflares is mastering your handstand and handstands variations. But which handstands variations do you need? The first one is the tucked handstand, meaning a regular handstand by tucking your head in, your chin down to your neck like this. So not looking at the ground anymore in this way, almost trying to look at your knees because the knees are gonna be down as well. So you wanna close your chin and close your knees down towards your chest. The lower you can go with your knees, the better it will be for your airflare. So you should try to really look at your knees while you do the handstand. Why is this variation helpful for the airflares? For two different reasons. First, for the shoulders, because when you throw the airflare, even if it's vertical, you want to make it look like your hands and your arms are behind your ears, behind your head. If you don't do that, if you throw your hands in this way and not behind your head, it will not look like an airflare. It will look something else. I don't know what. In order to be able to throw your arms behind your head, you should have shoulder mobility, shoulder flexion mobility. So it's different from this type of mobility from the shoulders. This will be more useful for flares, but it's this mobility here, being able with your arms to push backwards in this way. I'm actually kind of stiff in this way. If you want to improve your mobility for the shoulder flexion, I recommend to do this stretch here. You hold on a chair or something, you grab it with your hands, you tuck your chin in, exactly like the handstand that you're supposed to do, and you try to push towards the ground in this way here. The lower you can go, pushing your chest down and your head down, and the more you can arch and push backwards with your arms, the more beneficial it will be for the vertical airflare. So, in the handstand variation that we are doing, we are trying to do the same. When we want to tuck the head in, we want to try almost to do a bridge with our arms and with the shoulders in order to really push with the arms backwards and having the arms behind the head. This will be very beneficial for the airflare mobility. Second reason, it's about the legs. When we do airflares, even if the airflares are vertical, we want to make and maintain the legs low. So, practicing the handstand with our knees very low will help figuring out how to pull the legs in and close to the chest, also while doing airflares. A very common problem about who is practicing airflares with a higher form is that their legs are too high. And it's normal, because you're very high with your body, so even your legs will be very high. But you have to be high with your body, but try to be low with your legs, in order to make it look more like an airflare. Otherwise, it will look more like a spinning handstand. So, it's very crucial and very important that you learn this handstand variation and you can hold it for a long time. I recommend at least 30 seconds, having a very good control over this handstand variation. You can learn the same move in many different ways, but there is not a tutorial that can give you all the information to help you understand which method you should choose. To help you understand if you're ready for these moves, I created 4 Power Moves PDF guides for the windmill, the flare, the swipe and the airflare. The guides cover which approach to use, which tutorials to follow and in which cases, which exercises you should focus on, and how to progress as efficiently as possible, so you don't waste any time watching too many tutorials on YouTube. You can find the guides on my Ko-fi page, the link is in the video description. If you need more help, guidance, individual feedback, a specific training plan or exclusive content, check out my Patreon page, link in the description as well. You can choose the monthly plan that fits you best, and remember that you can cancel or change your plan anytime. Second very important handstand exercise, spinning handstands. You need to have a very smooth and very well controlled spinning handstand in order to learn vertical airflares. The spinning handstand is the basic of the walkover or vertical air flare. The more you improve the fluidity and the control over the spinning handstand, the easier the vertical air flare it will get. I really recommend trying to open your legs as wide as possible in the spinning handstand and to keep them as low as possible, to also challenge your mobility and flexibility a little bit. If you keep your legs kind of relaxed and too high like this in a spinning handstand, it's not gonna be beneficial for the vertical air flare. So you really have to force your legs to go down. It's gonna be way harder, but it's gonna be way more useful for the vertical air flare. Third and last exercise that you will need, it's a little bit of a mix between the first two exercises. So the handstand by tucking the chin in and the knees down, and the spinning handstand. This is more complex, so you have to start practicing it only when you can do a very good tucked handstand and a very good spinning handstand. Doesn't make sense to practice it before. You are gonna just mess up the form and it's not gonna be correct. So basically, we are still doing a spinning handstand, but if you spin clockwise like me, so if you throw the air flare from the right arm and you land on the left arm, every time we are on the right arm in the spinning handstand, we want to tuck the head in exactly like in the handstand we did before, and also tuck the knees in, so staying kind of like in this position that I am in right now. And after reaching this position, we want to place the left hand on the floor, release the head, look at the floor again, and open our legs. So you start a spinning handstand regularly, normally, in this way here. When you reach the handstand, as soon as you want to lift your left hand from the floor, you have to tuck your head in this way and crunch your legs. Crunch your legs towards your chest, as low as possible, like this. If you're able to look at your knees, after doing this, try to just keep going with the spinning handstand by leaning the left hand on the floor and opening your legs as usual, and then keep doing it. In each round, you have to try to crunch and open. Crunch and open. And your head is gonna go like this. Tuck on the right arm, release and look at the floor on your left arm. Tuck on your right arm and release and look at the floor on your left arm. Okay? Tuck and release. Tuck and release. You don't have to jump. You don't have to do the movement too wide like a walkover air flare. It would be very similar to a walkover air flare, this movement here, but it's still gonna be a spinning handstand variation because it's not gonna be too wide. Practicing this variation here is gonna be challenging, it's hard, but it's very similar to the air flare. The dynamic is very, very similar. If you really master this variation here, vertical air flare will become very easy for you. You just need to add a little hop and try to make the movement a little wider, and it will naturally transform in a vertical air flare. Another thing that you can try to do, every time you tuck your head in, you can try with your left hand to go behind your head, like this. In this way, you are gonna also think more about your left hand. It's gonna be useful to be able to swing your hand and to think about your hand when you're gonna do actual air flares. If you need more help to learn air flares, check out the guide that I made, link in the description, and see you next time with a new tutorial. Yo ninjas!